Hi everyone, today we'll have a writing course. In this course now we'll learn with you how to write task 1 and task 2 essays. If you're going to take IELTS or multi-level exams, you will have to write 2 tasks, especially there could be task 1 and task 2. For task 1 you should write at least 150 words, for task 2 you should write at least 250 words. And there are some differences between writing this kind of tasks. For example, if you're going to take an IELTS exam, for task 1 you should describe some kind of diagrams, like they could be line graph, bar graph, pie chart or table or multiple diagrams. But for a multi-level exams you should write letters. And next slide you can see the types of letters. Your letters could be written in 3 ways. They could be formal letters and informal letters and semi-formal letters. And formal letters could be written for organizational places like institutions and universities. And here you can see the types of letters. And formal letters can include itself complaint letters, apology letters, application letters, and reference letters, and follow-up or thank you letters, and inquiry letters, and asking for or giving advice or invitation letters. And now I will explain them one by one. Let's start with complaint letters. Complaint letters could be written in 2 ways, and if you have received the service or if you have received the product, in this situation you can write the complaint about the service or the product you have had. And the next is called apology letters, and apology letters could be written to express your sorrow to somebody. And application letters could be written in both formal and informal, and application letters could be written for organizational places in order to apply for a job or in order to study somewhere. For example, just imagine you have graduated from bachelor's degree. For this situation, if you're gonna continue your studies, further education, like if you want to continue your master's degree, for that you should write the application letters. And also, if you finish your studies, or if you graduated from both master's or bachelor's degree, if you want to work somewhere, you should also write the application letters. For this, you should write the application letter to apply for a job. And next is called reference letters. Reference letters could be written for somebody, and in this letter you should give advice to someone about that person. In that situation you should talk about those person's positive character. And next is called follow-up or thank you letters. Follow-up or thank you letters could be written to somewhere or somebody in order to express your gratitude. And the next is called inquiry or request letters. If you want to ask something or if you want to know about something, you can write these kind of letters. And next is called asking for or giving advice. And if you want to ask advice or give advice for somebody, you can write these kind of letters. And next is called invitation letters. If you want to invite somebody to somewhere, you can write this kind of invitation letters. And next is called semi-formal letters. Semi-formal letters could be written to the person or people who you don't know well. And next is called informal letters. Informal letters could be written to the people who you know well. For example, it could be your friends or relatives and this kind of person. And in the next slide you can see the structure of the letters. And first of all you should write the salutation part, and after that you can continue your letter by writing the introduction part. And you can also write the main body 1 and main body 2 parts, and the conclusion. And the last part you should write the complementary clause. And I will explain all of them one by one. And the first is salutation. What is a salutation? Salutation is the main part of your letter. In this part you should address the person you are writing to. For salutation you can use some kind of titles like dear, sir, or madam, and this kind of titles, or you can also use Mr., Miss titles. In the introduction part, you should state the purpose of your writing. In the main body part, you should give the details of your writing. And next is called conclusion part. And for this part, you should write the hopes and expectations of your writing and letter. And you can write here your hopes and expectations from the reader. And the next is called complementary clause. For this, you should finish and end your letter by writing heartwarming words and expressions, and polite expressions as well. And the next part you can see the formal and semi-formal words. In order to write properly this kind of letters, you should know about formal and informal language, and for this you should learn by heart some words and verbs and expressions to write your letter in an appropriate way. For example, the apologize could be a formal language, while say sorry could be informal, and the informal form of the increase could be go up, and decrease could be formal, but go down could be informal, and establish could be formal, but set up could be informal, and examine could be formal, but look at could be informal, and explode could be formal, but blow up could be informal. And the informal way of the discovery could be find out. In the next part, again, you can see some kind of verbs and expressions which could be used in both formal and informal letters. For example, consider could be formal, but think about could be informal, and get in touch with could be informal, but contact could be formal. And here you should differentiate this kind of words. The easy way of to differentiate this kind of words could be just analyzing their forms. For example, formal words could be stated with only one word, but informal words could be written both verb and particle. The particle could be the preposition. After the main verb, you can use the prepositions, and so they could be considered to be informal words. And the next is called commands. Commands could be formal language, but start could be informal word, and it concerns or it's in regards to could be formal expressions, but it's about could be informal. And demonstrate could be formal, and illustrate also, but show could be the informal language. And call could be formal, but ring up could be informal verbs. And next is let. Let is an informal word, but permit could be formal word. In the next part, you can see the transitions which could be used with both formal and informal letters. And here you can see some kind of conjunctions and adverbial conjunctions. For example, nevertheless could be formal, but anyways could be informal. And in order to add information, you can use moreover or furthermore. These kind of transitions could be formal, but plus also could be informal. In order to show the contrast, you can use however, but it could be formal, but could be informal. And therefore, that also could be used in formal letters, but so could be in informal letters. And in order to add information, again, you can use some kind of adverbial conjunctions like additionally, in addition, and these kind of conjunctions could be used in formal letters, but also could be used in formal letters. And in formal letters, you can use some kind of abbreviations. And the abbreviation form of the as soon as possible could be ASAP. And for informal letters, also you can use some kind of contractions, and you can also use some kind of contractions like the full form of the do not could be shortened by don't, or cannot could be can't. For that, you can use again this kind of contractions and abbreviations for informal letters. And the acceptable also call it also used in formal letters, but okay could be used for informal letters. And in the next slide, you can see other expressions which could be used in formal, both in formal letters. For example, in my opinion could be used for formal letters, but I think could be used for informal letters. And in order to end your letter, you can again use some kind of expressions and conjunctions, like finally could be used for formal letters, but in there could be used in formal letters. In conclusion also could be used for formal letters, but to sum up could be used for informal letters. And to summarize also could be used for formal letters in a nutshell, or basically could be used for informal letters. And again, you can use some kind of transitions and conjunctions for formal letters. For example, notwithstanding could be considered to be a formal expression, but anyway could be informal. In the interim and in the meantime could be considered to be formal expressions. And acceptable could be formal, but alright could be informal language. And the next part, you can see some kind of quantities which could be used in your formal and informal letters. For example, much and many could be used for formal letters, but lots of and a lot of could be used in formal letters. And large quantities of could be used in formal letters, but large number of could be used for formal letters. And here I will explain the differences between them. You know, the countable and uncountable nouns. For countable nouns you can use many or a large number of, but for uncountable nouns you should use much or large quantities of something. And in the next part again you can see some expressions like completely and strongly could be used for formal letters, but totally could be informal language. And definitely also could be used in formal letters, but very and fairly could be used in formal letters. Next part, now we will analyze some expressions which could be used both formal and informal letters. For salutation part, you can use some kind of expressions like you can start your formal letters with dear sir or madam, or for informal letters you can start your letter by using hi Robert. And in the next part, for the introduction part again, you can use some kind of expressions like I'm ready to inform you could be used for the introduction part for formal letters, but just wanted to let you know could be used in informal letters. At the end of your letter, like complimentary, for the complimentary clause, you can use yours sincerely or yours faithfully, and those could be used for formal letters, but love, lots of love could be used for informal letters. Again, you can also use some kind of other expressions like cheers or yours truly or best regards or kind regards. And in order to finish your letter, you can also use some kind of expressions in the conclusion part. For example, I look forward to hearing from you soon could be used in formal letters, but hope to hear from you soon could be used for in informal letters. And if you're going to continue your conclusion, again you can use some kind of expressions like you can use please don't hesitate to contact me in formal letters, but you can call me if you need anything could be used in formal letters. In the next part, now we will analyze the difference between sir and madam, or Mr., Miss, and Mrs. And sir or madam could be used at the beginning of a formal business letter when you don't know the name of the man or pupil, so we can use them without names. But Mr., Miss, Mrs. or Miss used with person's family name or before his or her first and family names together. Now we will compare them, and I will tell the next comparison between them. For sir, you can use the name of the person. For example, you can say Sir Murad, but for the family name you should use the Mr. For example, you should say Mr. Rajab. But after both Sir and Mr, you can use both the name and the surname of the person. And the next part, now we will analyze the common rules for all letters. It is important that your handwriting be neat and clear. That is the most important part, so you should pay attention to your handwriting. It should be clear and neat. And if it is illegible, the reader will have some difficulties in reading it. And the next rule is the writer's address is written in the top right-hand corner, and after the address you can also write the date. And for this, first of all, you can put the date, and after that you should write the month in a capital letter, and after that you can state the year. And you should leave a space between the address and the date. You should bear in mind that, and you should spell out month in full. But most candidates and students will make a mistake by writing them, and some students or candidates will write the number form of the month, but it would be wrong, so you should pay attention to that. And next is you should begin the letter on the word dear on the left hand side, and after that the first paragraph of the letter begins under the person's name. You should put the person's name, and after that you can continue your writing and letter with the introduction part. And a formal letter usually ends with either yours sincerely or yours faithfully, and it should be also followed by your signature. And at the end of your letter you should put your signature, or you can write your name. And you should bear in mind that yours always begins with a capital letter, but sincerely and faithfully begin with a small letter. And you should always use plain unlined paper in the same color envelope. For example, just imagine you have chosen a blue colored envelope, and for that you should also choose the same color paper. So if you choose the blue colored envelope, you should choose the blue colored paper. And a large size writing pad is best for most letters, and you should write your letter in blue or black pen only. And you should revise the rules for using capital letters. You know that some kind of proper nouns could be written in capital letters, like it could be the name of the person or a place and these kind of things, and again it could be the date or the month, and you should write them in a capital letter. And you should always use paragraphs when writing a letter. For example, in the first part, salutation part could be one paragraph, the next introduction part could be the next paragraph, and main body 1 and main body 2 parts could be the next paragraphs, and then you should write the complementary close part and conclusion part in separate paragraphs. And all of these rules are shown in the sample. Then we will analyze it, and after you write out your letter in the workbook or in your copy, you should check back here to see you have followed all the rules for letter writing. And now we will analyze the next part. And informal or personal letters are those you write to people you know. As I mentioned before, you can write these kind of letters to your friends, cousins, or family members. It could be your aunts or uncles and so on. An informal letter should be friendly and chatty and relaxed, as though you are talking to the person. And you sign an informal or personal letter using phrases like best wishes or love, yours truly, or lots of love, and so on. And you must, however, obey the rules for all letters. In the next page, we will analyze it. And here you can see the analysis part. In the top right hand corner, as I mentioned it before, you should put the address, and after that you can write the date. Here you can see the date. After 15th you can put the month, February, and after that you can state the year. And here you should pay attention to the punctuation. After the date you should use here comma, and then you can write the month, and then you can write the year. In the left side, you should continue your letter with the salutation part, and it starts with Dear Jim, or it is an informal letter, so I have started here the dear, and I have used the name of the person, Jim. So here I have written the name of the person and the dear, and this part is also called the greetings part. In this part you should greet the person you are writing to. And in the next part, here you can see the introduction part. The introduction part, I have written that how are the things in the week log. I haven't seen you for ages, so I decided to write and give you all the news from Gleantown. This part is called introduction. Here you should also pay attention to some kind of grammar rules and some kind of contractions. In informal letters you can use contractions, so I have used here one contraction, and it is haven't, and the full form it could be have not. And the next part, here you can see the other parts of the letter. In the next part is called main body part. For this part, I should state the main details of my writing. So I have written here, the football team is doing really well this season. We have reached the semi-final of the cup. The new goalkeeper we got after you left is great. He hasn't let in a goal in the last 3 matches. This is the main body part. In this part, I have stated the main parts, and it is called the news about my career. So in this part, you can state the latest news in your career. And the next part is called the main body 2 part. For this part, I can also talk about or write about my personal news, in my personal life news. So I have written here my family situation, and here you can see that my sister Sandra has just had a baby girl, so I'm now an uncle. Maybe I will be able to make some money from babysitting, and then I can come down on the train to visit you. This is called the main body part. In this part, I have also stated the latest news in my personal life. And the next is called the the conclusion part. For this conclusion part, I should also write some expectations. I should also write about some expectations from the reader. So I have written that write soon and let me know all the news. And in the next part is called complementary clause. So first of all, I have here used the your friend, and then I have stated the name. So after your friend, again you should pay attention to the punctuation. You should put the comma, and after that you should state the name of the person. It could be your name. So I have written here the Martin. That's all about it. Thanks for your participation and attention. Goodbye.